Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, in yesterday's video we showed you this text over image effect right here. Today we got another fun for you. This was requested. Somebody said, can we have a call to action that slides up over an image? So I've got an image here, as you can see. When I put my mouse on it, nothing's going to happen. But if I roll over the dark text down the bottom, or the dark module with the light text down the bottom, it's going to roll up over the image, and you can hit the button, take your mouse off, it's going to go back to down to where it was. Really easy to do. Nice little effect to have on your site. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the Visual Builder. Once enabled, let's roll down to where we want to work. I'm just going to add a new row underneath here. Little green button to add a new row. I'll throw 3 columns in just purely because that's what I've got on top. Now you can use pretty much any module you want for this. I'm just happening to use a call to action because it's got a nice title at the top, but it will work with pretty much anything you want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and use a call to action. I just roll this across, pull this up. There's the call to action. I'm going to leave it just like it is. Obviously you're going to want to put your title in there. Whatever you want the button to say, that'll show up when we add the link in a moment, and whatever content you want down there, obviously. As I was saying, if you want the button to show up, just put a link where it says button in there, and it will show up. Now, if you want the whole module to link somewhere also, either the same place or somewhere else, you can put a new link in right there. Always best practice if you're linking to your own site, keep it in the same window. If you're linking off-site to somebody else's, open it in a new tab so your site stays open. Okay, background color, I'm just going to make it stand out a little bit more by putting a dark grey in there. I'll use my 2424 I've been using on a lot of things. Fantastic. Okay, if you watch any of my hover series, I've got a whole playlist out there on hover effects for Divi. You'll probably know what I'm going to do next. To make this work today, we've got to put an image behind our module here in the column that the actual module is sitting in. To do that, we need to go into the row itself. Here's our first column, column 1 right here. Click on little icon, background, always under content. Third tab across is background image. Now we'll pop a little image in here. I think that's the one I used before. And obviously we can't see this image because our module's down on top of it. Okay, we've got to write one tiny little line of code, and I'll put it down below, but it's literally one line. While we're in our column, make sure you're in your column and not the row. Go over to the Advanced tab. That's always where you'll find Custom CSS. Click on the Custom CSS there. We'll go over to Module Elements, little tab at the top there. In the main element, I'm going to give this a fixed height. I'm going to say height, H-E-I-G-H-T, colon. I think I used 420 before, 420 pixels. As you can see, it's a little more than I want there. But also, I want to push this content down slightly away from our title and reduce the padding on the top there. So I'm going to leave this just like this. Now, these hover effects, obviously, they work best on desktop computers, but they'll work fine on tablet and mobile. They'll just have to click on them instead of hovering over them. So if you want to use this on tablet and mobile, let's copy our height here. We'll hit the little mobile phone type icon. If you don't see it, just hover over this dark writing. It's going to appear like that. And you can have completely different values for tablet. A little too high on tablet. Let's paste our code in there. Let's take it down to about 320. Remember, I'm going to adjust this text in a minute. You can always readjust when you come back in here. And on mobile, we roll back up. 420 is actually going to be fine on mobile for us right there. Great. Well, let's pop back to desktop. We'll roll back down to where we were working. We want to make sure any overflow is hidden, because in a minute when I've adjusted that text, I'm going to push this whole thing down here, and I don't want to see any sticking out the bottom. So still in the Advanced tab, we close up our custom CSS. Just down below we've got visibility, and this is really important. You want to turn your horizontal and your vertical overflow to hidden. That way anything that falls out of the side of our column here at a height of 420 will not be seen. Great, well let's make this happen. I'm going to save my column settings there. I'm going to save the row settings. Let's go back into our little call to action module here. That text, I'm just going to scoot it down by putting my cursor to the left of it and hitting my return, so there's a bit more space between the content there. And I'm going to add just a tiny little bit of padding on the bottom so it covers it up. Then we'll shift it. So over in design, we'll always find padding under spacing, padding and margin. And in the padding on the bottom, looks like we've got about 40 or so there. Let's try 50. I'll just put in 50. It'll put in the pics for you. That's covered that up nicely. Fantastic. Well, let's position this where we actually want it now. I know this is 420 tool because that's what we made the column. So if I put a margin on the top of, let's try 380, again, just put that in, it'll put the pics in. Push it down maybe a bit too far, what about 360? That's about the amount of black bar I want to see, but the title's too low. And that's because we've got too much padding on the top there. So in the padding top, I'm going to perhaps reduce that so it's 20 pixels, looks like about 40 at the moment. And you can increment it up and down with the little arrows to fine tune if you want to. It looks about right to me. But of course, when they hover over on it, I want it to shoot back up so they can get to the button and read the text. So again, we're going to hover over the dark writing, get the little arrow up, we can create a hover state. Completely different values. Desktops when the mouse is not on it, that's what we want to see. When they hover on it, click on the hover tab. I'm going to reduce that margin top to 0, just put a 0 in there. Going to go all the way back to the top. But again, I've got not enough padding on the top there for me. So make sure you roll over the padding and get the little arrow up there. Just because you've got it up on this one doesn't mean it's going to affect this one. Again, click on the hover state. And let's perhaps put that to 40. I think that's going to do it. It's covering our image. That title's got some breathing room up here. They can read all the writing and get to that button. Now the time it takes to go from desktop version, it's down there, to hover version where it's covering the whole image there, by default with Divi is 300 milliseconds. I like to slow that down for a bit of drama if you want to. Let's just flip it back to desktop version. I'm going to go over to advanced. We're in our call to action settings here. Down to transitions, just under visibility. I'm going to slide mine up, well, to almost a second. Whatever works for you. I find that if you just give it a little bit of time like this, it makes it look a little more graceful. And my go-to transition speed curve is ease in, ease out. That way it'll ease up and then it'll ease back down. Don't want any transition delay. You want it to happen as soon as their mouse touches it. If you want to give it a slight delay so they can put their mouse on it and it won't happen for a certain amount of time, just put that in there. But I'm happy with that. So if we've done this correctly, we should be good to go. Let's save the changes. We'll save the page changes. And let's exit the Visual Builder. There's the one we just created. Of course, nothing's going to happen when we roll over the image. When we roll over the dark writing there, it's going to zoom up. And they can get to the call to action button. When they take their mouse off of it, it's going to roll back down again. And if people are mousing around your site, this sort of thing happens, it gets their attention really quickly. So it's a great thing to have. Once you've got one, you can just duplicate it really easy by cloning and copying. I'll just do a quick example of that for you. Let's re-enable the builder. We're going to go down. We're going to go into the row itself. We set the first one up as we want it with hiding the overflow. Let's right click on it and tell it to extend the item styles to this row. So it should do the same for each column in this row. If I hit extend. Now if we look in this column, over to the advanced and custom CSS, it's got the fixed height. If we look down, visibility, It's hidden the horizontal and vertical overflow. Perfect. So all we need to do is go back to our content, change out the image that we want in here. Let's put the same image in there, obviously. Yeah, we'll throw that guy in there. Now you can't see anything because at the moment there's no content in there. Back to the row, roll up. We'll do the same thing for the next one. Just going to switch out that image. All of our other settings are fine. Great. Now we can save the column settings, save the row settings. We can clone our little module here. Now if you go down there, because we've positioned this with negative margin and you can't get to it, easiest way is to hit the little purple button. We'll go to wireframe mode, the little icon on the left hand side there. We roll on down, there's our single call to action. All I'm going to do is clone it by hitting the two little squares there. Grab one, pull it over. I'm going to clone it again. Grab one and pull it over. Obviously, you'll want to go in and change your title and your content out there and probably the link to your button down below here. When you're happy, flip back to desktop mode. And there we've got our 3 right there. Let's save and make sure this is all going to work on the front end. And exit the Visual Builder. Roll on down. And there's the 3 that we've just done there. Roll on over. It's going to pop up. Then get the button. Going to disappear back down. Same one for this one. If they roll over the image, nothing's going to happen. As soon as they roll over the dark tab, there we go. Like I say, that's a nice little feature. People are mousing around your site, this sort of thing happens. It does get their attention pretty quickly. So there you go, guys. There's a nice call to action. The image hover effect. Or image to call to action even. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Don't forget, if you have any questions, pop them down below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you or make a little demo video just like this one. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.